Big black contacts, heavy nose contouring, and excessive piercings. Let's talk about the Misery Girl makeup. Hi, I'm Dahlia, and welcome to my second channel. On my main channel, I talk about weird, chronically online things that just absolutely fascinate me. But when I'm not being cringe and weird online, I work as a special effects and makeup artist in real life. I think alternative makeup is so beautiful, and I never get the chance to talk about it online. So today, I want to talk about it. I've been seeing a lot of discourse online about these girls with a very specific type of makeup. But where does this come from? What does it represent? And who is wearing this? To me, makeup tells a story. Much like clothing, you can tell a lot about a person by the way they choose to do their makeup. And this specific style is a story on its own. For the safety of these girls, I am not going to be sharing their usernames, nor am I going to talk about them as individuals, mainly because they are teenagers. They're children. I am here to solely focus on the makeup. So this is something I would call a digital aesthetic, because you're not gonna see this type of look out and about in everyday life. A lot of the makeup techniques done with this style only look good on camera or with heavy Facetune, Photoshop, just alteration in general. This style of makeup that the girls like the Play That Misery Dada girl have on is a variation of a Russian and Ukrainian style known as nyashka. And the style itself is a mix of the Western e-girl makeup of 2020 and the Japanese Jeriki makeup as well. This is a controversial style of makeup, especially here in the Western world. A lot of people associate this makeup with very controversial things, but why? First and foremost, what exactly are the characteristics of nyashka makeup, and how does it differ from the Misery Girl makeup we see in online spaces? Both of these makeup looks are known for having the defining characteristics of thin, straight brows, large black sclera contacts, an emphasized eye bag, enlargement of the eyes, and usually very pale skin. I find the biggest difference with these makeups to be very, very subtle. The tell of where the person is from doing the makeup, for me at least, lies in the contouring. I've noticed that people in the Western Hemisphere tend to do this type of makeup with a warmer tone of contour, as opposed to people in the Eastern Hemisphere who typically use a gray tone of contour instead. I've also noticed that in Western makeups of this style, the nose contour tends to be a lot heavier and focuses more on having a rounded button nose, as opposed to the East having a more just straight look to it. The makeup all around is very beautiful. It's very unique to look at, but it is very uncanny as well. This is a heavy transformative look, meaning that the makeup changes the look of the facial features on the wearer. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's how you choose to express yourself with your artistry. But we do need to talk about why this look is controversial. What does it signal to others? Especially in the Western Hemisphere, a lot of people who do this look are accused of Asian fishing. So what is that? And why do people who do this makeup look get accused of this? Asian fishing is the act of using makeup, clothing, hairstyles, or even stereotypes to appear Asian in appearance. The eyeliner style used in nyashka or misery makeup is borrowed from Asian beauty techniques. You'll see a lot of people in this style use eyeliner to elongate the eyes, mimicking East Asian features, but I've noticed more recently that people are using these eyeliner techniques to emphasize a downturned eye as well, or as a lot of people call it, just a puppy dog eye. The puppy dog eye look can be defined as the larger, rounded, downturned eyes that pull from Korean beauty trends. I see this makeup style online used by people in RTCA spaces, and if you don't know what that is, RTCA basically means that someone is changing their race to another one. For example, the most common one I see online is the white to Korean transformation. It's a very small group online, and I'm pretty sure that they are usually tween or teenagers participating in this. There is a lot of parody around it, so it can be hard to determine what's real and what's not a part of their actual community, but I do see these eye techniques being used within that. I'm not saying you can't do these makeup techniques, but I am saying be mindful of the context you are doing them in. I'm gonna go ahead and point out a trend here with the makeup that I will repeat probably several times more throughout this video, but the people who are doing these makeups 99.9% of the time are teenagers, if not tweens. I feel like a lot of people, when they talk about this makeup trend, tend to ignore how Nyashka makeup came to be. There are a lot of military motifs that surround Nyashka makeup and the style's culture, and that's because this is an aesthetic born from war and politics. In around 2021, as Draincore aesthetics started to become really popular in Russia, the mix of anime aesthetics and the bleak, grungier elements of the Draincore aesthetic started to mix together, giving us this really cute but somber aesthetic as war between Russia and Ukraine really started to escalate. In 2023, at the height of the trend, Nyashka girls were very tied in with a group called PMC Ryodin, as well as their opposing group, the Anti-Ryodins. The PMC Ryodins are a subculture that was present in Russia and Ukraine, and they can be characterized as teenagers who wear an emblem of a 12-legged spider. They can also be defined by their jet black hair and Adidas tracksuits as well. They are anime fans. The name of the group is a play on words, pulling inspiration from the anime Hunter x Hunter, taking the name of a group of thieves and combining that with the private military contractor Wagner, hence the PMC. But they often get called football hooligans in the most simple of terms. Now, it started out with the Ryodins getting into mall skirmishes and just causing general trouble. Because of this, the Anti-Ryodins popped up basically overnight, with their goal being to hunt down and enact violence against the Ryodins. The Anti-Ryodins are the ones you typically see associated with the skull masks, and they don't really have a unified goal or ideology much like the Ryodins, but they do tend to have a lot of homophobic and white supremacist ideologies and beliefs, even pulling a lot of their slogans and imagery from skinhead culture. The fights between these groups are very violent. There were mass detentions of these teenagers, but the main thing I want you to focus on here is that Nyashka makeup is very socially associated with these unorganized street gangs. And in addition to that, this makeup is also very often associated with far-right beliefs as well, which is why when you see this kind of makeup online, whether it is the Nyashka style makeup or the more westernized Misery Girl, you can oftentimes find these looks in very alt-right spaces. I saw someone make a tweet online one time asking why girls who do this makeup are always saying slurs online, and that's why. These are edgy teenagers who are in a bad space mentally, physically, or even both. By the time this makeup style rolled around into the West, this look was already on the decline. I see young women often being criticized online for their appearances, especially with this style of makeup. And even though sometimes there are things to criticize about the individuals who wear this style of makeup, I think it's very important to remember that a lot of these girls aren't the devil. They are usually being influenced by an outside factor. Unfortunately, this makeup does tend to be popular in controversial online spaces. When I personally see this makeup, it does signal to me that the young girl who is wearing it is probably online somewhere she shouldn't be, primarily for her own safety. I cannot control the actions of individuals. I can only hope for the safety of them. I think the reason this makeup is so easy to make fun of is not only because of the online associations of it, but also because here in the West, alternative makeup is still, well, alternative. It is not the norm. If you go outside, you're not gonna see a lot of alternative makeup styles, even if you do see it online every single day. When a transformative alternative makeup breaks into the mainstream, it does not look normal to the average person, even if it looks normal to you. I have absolutely nothing against this style of makeup. I think it is perfectly normal to want to do a style of makeup, to have fun and experiment with different styles as well. But I do know that I have a lot of young alternative girls in my audience, some of which that do wear this style of makeup. I wanted to shed some light on where this comes from, because fashion and makeup is always political. It is the result of the environment you are in, socially, economically, and physically. It is wearable art that describes you. I think that in order to truly be able to flourish in your intelligence, you need to learn more about the things that you like, not just in an academic sense, but in a creative sense too. As I see this makeup style become more and more popular in the Western mainstream, I think it's important to acknowledge the history behind it and learn why people treat this look the way that they do. Because this look does go beyond the typical, I think it looks ugly. I don't think it's right to judge someone based on outward appearance alone, but please do remember why this makeup style is commonly associated with controversy going forward. The history of alternative communities all have one thing in common, and that is that none of them are squeaky clean. They were created by edgy teenagers and were built on rebellion against societal norms. And unfortunately, yes, that does include the bad parts as well. To end this off, let this old hag give you a little bit of advice. It is perfectly okay to do your makeup however you want to, whether that is a transformative look or a clean girl aesthetic. But don't you ever, 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 ever use your creativity to pander to another person. If you have the gift of artistry in makeup, do it for yourself. Find what you like. And if you truly do it for yourself, it will show. The most beautiful people are the ones that find kindness and beauty within themselves. If you learn to love things about yourself, other people cannot dispute that. Be open to critique, but do not be open to hate. We all change and we all grow throughout the course of our lives, but only you can decide how you want to do that. Bye!